Why, hello there, everybody. What is up? It's Wes, Andy, and Hank, and we are back for the usual Sunday night live stream here on Fandom Power. This week, kind of keeping with the flow of last week, a little less formal, a little more max relax, chill, hang out. Although, I know, Hank, once you get going, it's going to be anything but chill and relaxed.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I took something to mellow myself out before. I took a Xanax.
That's fair.
Right on,
Okay.
kids.
So you're okay then? Right up until we start talking about
Yeah.
the industry.
Button issue.
Hot button issues.
Fuckers.
All right,
Excuse
what
me.
are we doing? Well, tonight we are. Oh my God, what are we tonight? We are
Episode 22, the
22.
pre-order Menace.
Nice.
guys.
Fantastic.
We are toy people here, and we haven't really touched on toys a whole lot, but
We touch
Man.
on them every now and again.
the state of the industry has
At least on
become,
camera.
as you say, it's a hot button
Yeah.
issue. Especially Hank, you had made me aware last week that there was a bunch of cancellations from
Yeah. So it was
Hasbro.
weird because just after the show on Sunday, we had just what do you think about doing next week? And you guys want to just chat about toys and the state of the industry and collecting, you know. And then I woke up Monday morning to an email from Entertainment Earth telling me that the Rex had been canceled, that I had pre-ordered because magically Hasbro had found crates and crates and crates of these things and distributed them all over the place. It was all over the internet for a while. It was like November.
Sure.
And not a reissue either, like the old Rex in the original Black Series box, the 2015,
Right.
maybe 2016 Rex, canceled. And then I was just like, wow, that's crazy. And then because of the algorithm, all my social media started showing me videos from people who were like, oh, this
Lighting
has been
up.
canceled too. And this has been canceled too. And I was like, wow. And I did a little digging, and sure enough, Hasbro are they cutting and running? What's going on? The price of plastic is high. I get it. I don't know, man. Like,
I don't know if it's stuff in that cancellation. I think we got. I think Rex was a big one for a lot of people, but Cad Bane, Asajj Ventress, as well as now these are black 6-inch Black Series we're talking about.
Right.
Cad Bane was in there. Asajj Ventress, Rex,
the Stormtrooper with the pauldron and the long rifle.
Yes. The reissue or the new
Stormtrooper. They're all reissues. There's a few. There's a few vintage collection figures, the 3.75 with the high articulation.
Yeah.
That weren't reissues in terms of the new line, but I guess because that line started at like 140 or something like that because of the previous line from 2013.
Okay.
They are reissues of the characters, but all completely different sculpts and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So there's a few things I couldn't name them, but they got canned too. I like you said, like when I first brought it up, if it means we're gonna get new sculpts, brand new stuff, like, you know, it never even occurred to me. I bought the one jack today for the price that
you did
on social media. You were like, I won't do that. And I was like, I probably will. And then I went, I was like, there it is. And so it's weird though. And in my head, something made it more valuable to me than actually just sitting there. There were 4 on the shelf along with a Q90. I picked that up.
Q9. Yeah. I've got it. I've got a Q9 here somewhere.
And nice. And three of the bubbles on the one jacks were like heat shrunk, like curled in, like just completely destroyed. And now I'm trying to be an unboxed guy, but I was just like, my head raced to, can I get a discount on that? But I don't know how that works anymore. But so I grabbed the one that wasn't like that. So I don't know if it was a factory defect or not. But that, like you said on social media, that was a $40 figure. $39.98.
I was at our and I know so this is going to be an interesting part of the conversation because Andy and I were in Ontario. Hank, you're in Nova Scotia.
Mm-hmm.
We are all shopping at the same national/international retailers.
Right.
I'm curious to know if there's a price variance between provinces, because I was in one of the Walmarts that's local to us yesterday, and there were 5 one jack on the peg, and right beside them was a Q90. Not this one. I've had this one for several weeks now, but that Q9 was at the same price point as the one jack. And here in Ontario at Walmart, he was What did I say? $39.99.
Yeah.
$39.99. Yeah. There he is. There's one Jack.
Sorry, the glare there. We're super disappointed though, to find out he's just a Forlom repaint.
Right. I mean, but we did see that in the
Straight up.
series, right?
I mean, I knew that was happening. His eyes aren't even green, bro. Why
No.
aren't his eyes green?
Well,
Yeah. Anyway.
again, well, that's a whole other issue.
Yeah, that's a whole other issue. But like you said, your figs were skewing the same price, and this guy was $7 cheaper than this guy.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. No, I found this in a different aisle.
Okay.
Almost like they got like a off shelf aisle where they have like overflow where they don't know where to put stuff that ends up around the store, and they
our
stuff
store
it on
has
an
had
aisle.
that as well. Yeah, it's sort of like
So
I don't want to
that's
call
where
it
I found
clearance aisle,
this
but
guy.
Kinda listed
Yeah,
as clearance.
I mean,
yeah.
But it's not really clearance prices.
No, no,
So
not when you get Rise of Skywalker figures. Andy, you've been there. You know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Well, I can't even think of her name. That's how memorable the character was. The African American woman in Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, the one that we all theorized was Lando's kid.
Right, where he's like, "Let's go find out where you're from."
Yeah.
Well, she's been that figure has been there peg warming for months and months and months.
$12 at Toys R Us. The last time I saw
it goes away. It goes away, and then when a case refresh comes out, she goes back up on the peg. They did the same thing with a Zori Bliss.
Zori Bliss, yeah.
And every time the case refresh goes out, these figures go out at the same freaking price point.
Yep.
Come on.
Yeah, that's mental.
Trickery.
That's the corporation just going. Yeah, they might trick somebody for sure.
I think it has a lot to do with like when I was trying to vend Hasbro stuff. Now this is before Hasbro Canada was allowing the independent retailer to purchase directly, so I had to go through a distributor.
Right.
Every time I call the distributor to say, "Are you getting the new case and what's the breakdown?" they could never tell me because the SKU is the same SKU for every wave. So it's like, "Oh, you can't tell me who's in it." Well, how do I know it's the wave that I just didn't buy 6 months ago or
right? How do
3
they
weeks
keep
ago?
that separate? That's crazy. That
Right. And I think that's kind of a similar situation with Walmarts and Toys R Us and the bigger stores, that it's all kind of.
That was the thing not too long ago with GameStop, right? When they were moving from a single SKU to multiple SKUs for the new wave.
Mm-hmm.
But
it just makes sense in terms of
my,
so much stuff being done online. It makes sense that like the customer could search online, for, and order that
individual,
way.
Yeah.
Like, I see it less, but I did see a lot of this early on in the sort of Black Series stuff. Like, you would just be ordering a Star Wars figure, and it would be random.
Yep.
They'd be like,
GameStop is famous for that.
Yeah. One of the assortment.
Case assortment. You get what they give you.
Right, and it's whatever the peg warmer is. You end up with a Admiral Holdo.
There's apparently one Jack must be the larger number of figures for that assortment.
Well, the other two that I saw on the shelf were the Stormtrooper.
Okay.
And a Boba Fett that I couldn't corroborate whether it was 30. It was the same price. So
which one was it? Was it the Tython one, or was
it might have been
one?
Tython? That's the one. It wasn't that one. That I seen that for $50.
Well, this one's from GameStop. This one's not that long ago, and I think what's the edge price there? Can you make that out?
$44.99.
$44.99.
Yeah.
Now that's
discount.
That is with an edge card. This is considered to be a deluxe figure, as you can tell by the larger packaging. But that's another thing. I don't even know where to start. There are so many things we could. Oh, I know we like to celebrate
I basically
Star
have the
Wars
same figure here.
Well, there you go.
He's just a different different head, right? He gets all the same gear.
Well, he does. I mean, he's got some other variances, obviously, but I mean,
a couple of different weapons.
Let's just talk about for a second.
$50. What's going on?
Figure swap.
There is that. For a moment, just for giggles, let's talk about this whole. When Hasbro said that some of these figures were going to be deluxe, and they were talking that part of the deluxe price point was going to be more paint apps and stuff. Have you guys noticed a difference at all with any of these deluxe figures?
No.
No.
I mean, they say every shot of paint is is dollars. And here I am looking at this boba, and I mean we've got red, green, silver, some gold. I mean
He's kind of matte too,
yellow
right?
is like 4 or 5. So I mean I guess technically there's some in there, but really, I mean
The overall figure.
as I was saying before we went to air, this is a deluxe figure, and this guy when he came out. Now this is the
Mandalorian.
the Mandalorian
With
Yeah.
Beskar.
right.
That's
this
the
one
red
came
and black box.
No, it's the colored box.
Oh, okay, it's the new.
Came with the backpack. This was a standard release.
Right.
This is a deluxe release. I don't get the.
It's not like they're coming with a different amount of accessories.
I mean, this Mandalorian comes with a rifle and a pistol.
Right.
And we have seen that one released in a deluxe when it comes with Grogu too.
This Mandalorian comes with a rifle and a pistol. This
Right.
Mandalorian comes with a helmeted head. This one also comes with, well, I guess he does have a helmet
alternate.
and a head, but still, I'm having a real hard time reconciling.
There's
what
also
is deluxe.
I mean, hold on a sec. I got a point too about that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because like normally you'd want, more bang for your buck when they're calling it a
Well,
deluxe.
if it's going to be deluxe, you got to make it
it
deluxe.
worth it, yeah.
Make it deluxe. I don't feel that is a figure that fits
Remember
what
the old deluxe figures
my
when they were like they stepped right outside of the line.
Yeah,
and-
it's right.
and gave you,
Well, I mean,
but
that's
even
your.
still.
Is that considered a figure though? Like, I mean, that's right in there with like the Tauntaun and
Right,
the Wampa,
right.
right? Like where it's
Right.
less of a figure and more of a. I mean, it is a figure. I'm
So
not
what
gonna
if I have
deny
two of them?
that. To me,
but
that kind of fits more in the
vehicle
man,
or
yeah,
almost
beast,
beast or vehicle.
beast
Sure,
category. Yeah.
sure. And the other deluxe, I mean the Grievous, the first deluxe.
Oh yeah.
It came with 4 lightsabers.
Right.
A pretty intricate figure too, although the damn thing won't stand up. It's to this day I gotta use
He's
one
in the
of
back of
clippy
the
guys.
cabinet, leaning against the
Yeah.
back wall. So
But
if he's
I have
gonna
one of
go,
those like arms that's for flying figures, just holding them standing at least,
sure.
so we can run forward. But I mean, at least 4 lightsabers is pretty cool. But it's still not the stuff that I'm seeing what you guys tell me about Legends figures, and it's certainly not the kind of stuff that's like, coming with the $100 price points of the hyperwaves and stuff like that.
So I'm torn because I mean I like what Hasbro does. I like the product, generally
Love it.
speaking. Now that being all things aside, that Boba Fett, and I'm going to go back to that. That one is labeled as the Book of Boba Fett, but it's not.
It was the Book of Boba
It's the
Fett
Mandalorian.
teaser.
It's the Mandalorian Boba Fett. That's the throne room appearance. It's the wrong undergarment. It's essentially the Tython undergarments with the repainted armor on top and a new belt.
Yeah.
So while we're talking about that point,
I know it's a nitpick.
Another thing that I'm having, and it is a nitpick too. I agree. I think, but the fact that there's like a gaming grades wave in this color,
Yeah.
and they have like 1 through 12, and there's a Mandalorian wave in this color, and they come from 1 through 12. There's no there's a cohesion, but you can't collect that anymore. It's too hard
by
to
the numbers. Yeah.
Keeping a checklist is mental, especially when 1 and 2 of one come out in a wave packaged with 3 and 6 of another one.
Of another subgroup.
And they just start one in the middle, and then they
Yeah,
abandon one for like they had to sell it the Yavin Ceremony Leia forever.
Yep.
And no other New Hope figures for like almost 6 months, and then they put Pondo Baba.
I love that figure, by the way, the Yavin Ceremony Leia.
Yeah, it's sweet.
A friend of mine picked her up for me on the Power of the Force card. Not that it matters, because she will be freed from the plastic, at some point.
No, but that's part of my point too. Is that the different packaging, and now we're about to switch again, right? With Black Series,
for
we're
sure.
about to switch again to this
To the
bubble-less
windowless packaging, yeah.
and that's crazy because now nobody has a choice but to open them if they want to even. And I mean, you can't even get a mispaint. You can't get you can't see if your guys have faces on sideways.
As a Transformer collector, and I've been a Transformer collector since 2006.
Right.
That's not a hard one for me to swallow because anything bigger than a leader class, like any of the commander class, and of course the Titans, they're all in windowless packaging. So I mean, it's a crapshoot every time you buy.
That's true.
I think there is an answer here. I know I applaud Hasbro for being committing to the reducing, the plastics, but what about bioplastics? Like plant-based plastics. Is there a time when we'll ever get back to window boxes with them? I
These
don't know.
people understand that paper straws come from trees. I don't know.
There is that. There is that.
Anyway, I mean, I agree. I definitely don't want, like some action figures are going to be some of the things left at the end of time, right? Like the old stuff, the hard, crazy, non-bio, But I mean, there's got to be like a broader interface with the fans. I think. I don't know. Like at an expo, is there like a booth where you can? I mean,
go up and give them comments or feedback.
I was thinking about this earlier today.
Washing that all out because they are being bombarded with this. Like what we're doing right now, there's 1,000 guys doing
absolutely,
it. And
everybody has an opinion, and everybody
then emailing it directly to the CEOs or whatever.
There is that, right. But so, I mean, unless they give me the names of all the shareholders,
yeah. At some point, and maybe it's impossible because maybe it's this weird clicky thing, but at some point, is there a fan? Do we know these guys like the way that we now know the guys that were in Kenner and stuff like that? Like, do we?
Right.
Is there any like, celebrities that are like toy makers and guys?
Are you watching the fan events on Hasbro Pulse on their Facebook?
Not live,
not consistently. No, definitely.
And I'm the same way. But like genuinely speaking, and again, this is just my opinion. I don't think there's anybody who works on the toy lines because within Hasbro, that they're broken down by group, right? So there's the Star Wars group, there's the Marvel group, there's the Transformer group. And I think the people who work on the development of the product, they really do care about it. For example, Reva's lightsaber did not make the funding for the HasLab, which is a whole other thing. But the people who worked on it, the guy who was promoting it at Celebration, he was so passionate about it. Now, an argument could be made that he's a company man and that's what he's got to say. But like, by and large, the toy makers, I do believe are passionate about the brands that they work on. I think they have to be.
Yeah.
I'd say 98% of the stuff I get is high quality and I love the crap out of it. For me, I guess it's about some sort of like slow down with the packaging changes, slow down with things like, and figure out your distribution because that's a huge problem. I could just easily say that too. I'm not what do I know about distribution? But what I do see is other fields for collectors that have mastered that, like comic book distribution. Things of that nature.
Comic book distribution just took a major nosedive in the last.
Did it really?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I guess COVID,
Diamond distribution is not the end all be all anymore.
No, right. DC pulled out of there.
Absolutely. There you go. I mean, that's what half the industry right there just went. Nope, Diamond, we're done with you.
Yeah, they've recently gone slightly back, but
I know that in Canada, Universal I think is carrying some comic books now.
Yeah.
It's
forever it was pretty unshakable sort of situation. So that's unfortunate.
Well, comic books though are unique though because they are still what I would say 90+% the purview of specialty retailer. Yeah. Action figures are not.
No,
they really. No. I mean, some action figures are for sure.
Well, like your Mayfex ones or whatever.
Well, here's the thing though.
Toys
okay, so Mayfex. SH Figure Arts, I would say they are not. They are to us because we live in North America, and these are international brands that technically aren't really sold here.
Yeah.
So they come at that, they're international, right? And that's always been a thing. Bringing toys in from, say, Japan, which is where a lot of these things come
from. My Voltron.
Well, exactly.
Go Lion. I mean, my Go Lion.
I wonder if there's a similar uptick on domestic product that's sold in other markets. If there's the same sort of like, oh my God, it's the Hasbro, whatever.
Yeah,
that we go for Japanese toys here.
No, absolutely. And there's even just a discrepancy between the, Spanish language in Mexico and the French in Canada and the single language in the States. And there are people that are in North America collecting 3 of everything in terms of that too. So
So this has been sort of the thing with me over the years is I started, I didn't retain my childhood collection. It was out of my control. So coming back to toys as an adult in 2006, 2007, it's been a huge part of my life, a big part of my adult life. But man, like I've already had what I call the Great Purge of 2019. Andy, you probably remember that.
I do.
Where I downsized my collection by 200 pieces and over 200 pieces.
Yeah.
And I find that, with the price creep and the scarcity, whether it's real or fabricated, is really kind of, there's a tingle in the back of my mind that's like, is it time for collection 3.0? Do you know what I mean? Is it time to cut my ties to certain brands and just go, look, I can admire it from afar and I can enjoy it like a movie, but this again, that scarcity, real or imagined, just drives me nuts. And I will be the first to admit, I freaking hate disappointment. I hate it.
Well, here's
nothing worse.
You on.
Yeah.
After Purge, did you regret it?
Great question.
Because if you're thinking about doing it again, if you had regrets going through it the first time,
when I did the Great Purge of 2019, I was absolutely ruthless about it because I had gone from being a completionist Transformer collector where I retained all the packaging. I still opened everything, but I kept all the boxes. So step one was letting go of packaging. That was the first thing. You know what? And that's an easy one because as I like to say, here's my mantra. I collect toys, not packaging.
Yeah.
I collect toys, not packaging. I don't buy physical media anymore. I don't buy movies or music anymore. I stream everything, but I do pay for it. So, I mean, that's not going to change. I believe in acquiring these things legitimately, but I knew that I was going to have a hard time letting things go. Like have you ever gone through, like Andy, you're a parent. When you go through the kids, like art projects, they're 3 or 4 years old and you're like, can you let them go?
Not yet.
It's that same kind of, the process is very similar when you're trying to get rid of stuff. So I really approached it from this ruthless place of, if it didn't emotionally hit me immediately, put it in the to-go pile, because if I stayed on it for any more than, was absolutely necessary, I was going to find a reason why I should hold on to it. And so even my wife, who has been with me through 99% of my adult collector life, was like, are you sure about this? And I'm like, absolutely I am. And then in the last 12 months, it's kind of snuck up on me, especially with the resurgence of Masters of the Universe, that I have a little bit of regret on letting some things go. No secret here. You were
big into the classics.
I was huge. I was an all-in subscriber from 2009 until 2015. And after 2015, I let my subscription go because I was getting tired of come on, there's still characters in the main line that you just never did.
Yeah. So
I started cherry picking just the ones I wanted after that. I took a lot of that stuff. I do own a retail business. I do own a toy store, full disclosure. But and that was a good way to move some of that stuff. In the last year, some of the remaining classics that I had at the shop have now made their way back home. So, there is a certain amount of that, but you never know. You don't know what you're going to regret until you do it.
True.
And that's the big unknown.
I have to admit that a huge part of my adult collecting is based on the fact that I don't have my collection from when I was a kid.
Absolutely.
For whatever deep psychological reasons I don't want to get into, right? But
sure.
it's definitely Listen, about that. I could write a paper on it.
There's probably several hundred adult men all sitting at home going, I know what he's talking about. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
My Masters of the Universe collection was my own fault. I was desperate for money, so I decided to yard sale it. But the rest of it, I still got. I've still got all my G.I. Joes, my Battle Beasts, my Centurions.
Oh wow, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Even got a handful of WWF Hasbro figures and some LJN.
That's very cool.
But
it's an interesting place to be in, that whole am I ready to let go of this stuff? And when you're behind the wheel, it's not in my case, it was my parents that yard saled everything on me. I had no say in that. it's a much different experience. And in some ways it can be actually kind of, I don't want to say liberating, but there is a sense of feel good, you know. I mean, the short version is my house is not getting any bigger. My collection continues to grow, but my house is not getting any bigger. So I really have to, I made this decision and with my Transformer collection. So I should probably start by saying the big ones for me, modern Transformers within the main line and Masterpiece Transformers. I love them. Star Wars, the Black Series particularly, and I was a huge fan of Masters of the Universe Classics. Well, that's over now, so I haven't filled those spaces, but those are my big three. Those are the things that I like the most.
Yeah, totally.
And a smattering of everything else. With Transformers, it was easy. I kind of went, what am I emotionally connected to? And then I decided that it really was sort of the G1 era of Transformers. But I've narrowed that down even more specific. So now, as far as Transformer collecting goes, I only collect characters that appeared in the first 2 seasons of the show or the 1986 movie. That's it. Anything else outside of that, it's nice, but I don't need it. Makes it a lot easier. Star Wars is a little bit of a different animal because there's current entertainment that's pushing that brand forward. And of course, it's easy for me to go, oh, shiny thing.
New Obi-Wan
must have the plastic.
Yeah, that's driving me a little crazy. And I was a completionist, and you start to do things like make lists inevitably to keep track of what's going on, especially once your collection starts to grow. And you notice that there's things going on that are wrong with, I guess, maybe just the model of how they distribute toys and how they even organize what's distributed. But in terms of the Black Series, you go through the first 60 figures, and and including from 1 to 60, the first 60 figures, and then you count the number of figures I have in the first 60 that are on that list.
Oh yeah, and get some big gaps.
It's something like 12 or 13.
Really?
In the first 60, and then you go, oh well, no, I'm sorry, it's something like 25, 30. It's like half or so. And then you go, well, how that means I need 25, 30 more to get there, right? In that ballpark. And then you look and you go, but no, because of all the special stuff that's been released here and the exclusives there and stuff, there's still 50 figures that aren't in that list.
Got a first comment coming in tonight from YouTube. It's my wife, Kim.
Nice.
She says, yep, you usually get the plastic with the winky face. Yes, my love. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. Oh, also, by the way, you're getting some new stuff here soon.
Nice.
Spread the guilt.
Well, that's it. You know what? You bring up a very interesting point, Hank, because a lot of those gaps boil down to
availability.
Well, I was going to say the other big one. Well, there's a third one.
Okay.
And we as Canadians have suffered for this for
foreign
decades.
Exclusivity, like
retailer exclusive.
Right.
Retailer exclusive. So automatically we are excluded. I mean, unless you're buying from, you've got that hookup in the United States or elsewhere.
That goes down and all ties and brings it back.
We are barred from those. We don't get along. Well, mind you, that's not true anymore in the sense that a lot of the retailer exclusives, like the Target exclusives, are showing up at GameStop here in Canada.
Yeah, I've seen
Has
some
there
there.
been anything that we know that hasn't shown up since they've made that kind of switch?
I haven't seen the like Target style exclusives, but like retail that we don't have access to, like Disney store exclusives, like the 3-packs, the 4-packs,
or the theme park stuff.
Yeah.
Which they did. They realized just selling it at the theme park is ridiculous. What are we going to do with 1 million toys? So they started putting them in the stores and online with the Disney store too. But I mean, I don't know how to explain it to non-toy people out there, that if there are any of them sticking with us through this, but there's something about going to a brick and mortar and going, shelf to shelf to shelf to shelf and go,
man,
boom, and
that whole experience,
a weird little kid feeling that's going on there, like
being in the aisles and having that sense of discovery and like, oh, look at this, look at that.
Right, you almost look around like, is anybody going to swoop in over my shoulder?
Right. And then you go, well, my $5 allowance isn't going to buy me anything anymore.
No,
No.
Dollar Tree for that.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, and in Halifax, it's a small market. I mean, you guys are country a little too, but
We're way country out here.
yeah, but I mean, you're close to larger markets.
We are. I mean, we can
want to
drive.
travel. I don't. Yeah, definitely. But I mean, my market's so limited that I've got, there's 3 EB games that take me over an hour to get to each on Metro Transit.
On public transit, yeah. Okay.
Right. I don't drive, so I guess I'm whining a little bit. Being a little bit privileged. And I
Hey man, let's just flip this. Let's flip the script here, because the alternative is you have public transportation, we don't.
Yeah. Well, there you go. There you go. And so, I mean, I've got 3 or 4 places I can go. There's a couple comic stores that are hit and miss, local retailers, and they're driving it up.
Kim says it's the new book smell, and that is a direct wink, wink. That's one of her vices is buying books, and I mean, I also suffer from that.
No, I do too. That's another, seeing the shelves in my apartment. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I do miss comic. That was my biggest, I guess, collection. When I was a kid, the comics were I
remember that.
The craziest thing. I had like innumerable amounts of comics, and she's absolutely right. There's a smell. There's a brand new comic book. Read
that
it
feeling
once.
of holding something new.
The physical product in hand is not.
I do miss that tactile stuff, and like you said before about music and books and art, I miss like banks of tapes and albums and stuff, and I miss like the album art and stuff. But as we moved it, the storage though is like you can't deny that.
That is the flip side, and maybe that is.
I've got every album ever on this disc drive here.
We are all middle aged now. And we're all kind of, set in the places where we're going to be for the foreseeable future. There is that sort of like, do you find yourself thinking about how I can't take it with me?
Oh yeah.
No, I try not to think about that.
Oh, cheapers.
I guess I'm the only one.
that's on page 2 of the paper about my crazy psychology and toys. I mean, I do. Like Lauren's, she's flat out said to me, "Which one do you want to be buried with?" Because I'm burning the rest of them.
That's an interesting one.
No, but I did. No, straight up. That's kind of a joke between us, and I do want the clone Obi-Wan to be buried with me. That's my favorite Black Series figure.
I love him.
But you know what? I want you to take them all because I want you to take everything that I've got, and I want you to go to like the nearest children's hospiel, and I want you to just start handing them out.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That's exactly what I want to happen. Because if I didn't get around to playing with them, and it's taken me a hell of a long time to open them.
To opening stuff. Yeah,
inevitably, that's what they're for. And if I could do that, that'd be dope. That would be hella dope. Because I'm never going to get the money that I put into them back out. It's not like that anymore.
I don't know, man. I was actually thinking about that. And I was going to say, like, and I'm sure we all know people who buy based on the perceived resale value.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I need to get this figure because it's going to be worth something in 20 years.
Well, not even 20 years. Like you look at the new Marvel Legends with the windowless box, the Future Foundation Spider-Man. I've seen it going online already for $75 a piece.
Now, that's a new drop. That's a new drop, isn't it?
I just saw it come out at GameStop this week.
So that's probably the
and it's still $38, but
we've seen that before, though. We see the people who are getting it directly from the factories in China who've got that in over there where I've got it first, so I can basically ask whatever I want.
And there's got to be there's a huge that's another problem. I have to admit I'm part of the problem. If I walk into a Walmart and drop $100 on 2 action figures, I'm part of the problem because if nobody bought them, then they sat there forever. They might have to rethink it. But who's going to do that when you actually?
I'm never going to tell anybody how to spend their money because Lord 100%. Knows that I have made. I mean, I've got an impulse buy sitting in my driveway. Do you know what I mean? Like, who am I to say don't spend your money on things you love? And I mean that is the crux of it, isn't it, though? It's about those things that we love, that we identify with. And really, at the end of the day, I'm not going to give up on toys. I'm still going to buy them. I think I'm just going to be a little more discerning a little bit more discerning, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's a couple of directions. I mean, I have to admit,
forced that way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I did some weird math, and I just went, what was the price of bread in 1978? 1978
Oh, dear
when
Lord.
the first Star Wars came out.
I don't
Loaf
know.
of bread in 1978 was 33 cents. I think it's American. But we'll talk about American prices of action figures. And the Star Wars action figure in 1978 was anywhere from 99 cents to $1.99. So we'll go with the high end, and we'll say that a Star Wars action figure in 1978 was 6 times the value a loaf of bread is.
Yeah.
So today a loaf of bread is $3 in Halifax.
Yep.
I don't know what it is where you guys are. It's about
that's pretty close.
Between that,
It's pretty close.
Give or take, you know, if it's on
Walmart
sale.
brand is $1.99, but
well, there you go.
Yeah, sure.
But so 6 times that price is only $18 for an action figure, fellas.
Yeah.
So something's way out of whack.
Yeah, that's kind of weird too.
Right? And,
you know, I mean, do I believe that the price of plastics has gone? I do believe that all of the logical, the logi-speak, as it were, around the manufacturing process and the cost of labor and the cost of materials and all that stuff. Tooling is the big one,
right?
You know, tens of thousands of dollars for the steel tooling for one action figure. I believe that. I just don't know if the price creep has really been a reflection of inflation. I don't necessarily believe that. I do think that other people who are in the YouTuber space and in the industry, like today, I have sent you guys a video from a popular YouTuber and former toy company executive,
right?
Who, you know, who basically says it does come down to bottom line. And when you have these multi-billion-dollar publicly traded companies that have to answer to shareholders, that's a very compelling argument.
Yeah, no, it's true. Which sort of leads me to my my solution, or where I think I'm going with toys. And I'm like you. I'm not going to ever stop.
No, I'm not stopping.
And I might even, because I start to get enjoyment out of the larger items like helmets and swords.
Oh,
and
sure, yeah.
Stuff. But I might even start to look at the more high-end stuff, like we talked about, like the fig arts and stuff.
Yep.
If I'm getting a crazy high-quality product that's technically more precious, I guess. You know,
sure.
Because there's fewer of them in my collection. It might be something to explore. But even to go take it even further, if I can get something custom, made by an artist at the same price point as I can in a
commercially
Hasbro box,
made thing,
doesn't that become a lot more precious? And I'll take it even further. I'm really close to start deconstructing open figures and buying a 3D printer. Because it's not as hard as it used to be.
You are way behind the curve on that, man.
Yeah, man. And I mean, just for myself, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Honestly, not to make money, but because I want to see Ezra Bridger with short hair, things like that.
You know,
I want to see blind Kanan Jarrus,
I mean, pretty much anything you can imagine is out there somewhere. Somebody's got a file for it, or could design a file for it.
Yeah, but at the same time, if that is available to the public, just think how far they've advanced in the manufacturing process.
Right.
3D printing has changed the face of toy collecting, though, because, you know, a lot of companies, that's the rapid prototyping phase. Yeah. But to the average Joe consumer, that's a one-off custom toy.
True.
You know, and if I can sell a few of those.
But if it's competitive enough, you think that's got to maybe drive the price of the actual product back down in our favor. You know, like at some point there's going to be an industry backlash.
Well,
I would think.
I would say that
would have to be something to draw the consumer back.
I feel like this is and I'm going to use the Transformer analogy. We talk about third-party Transformers. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So not transforming Transformers. They look just like your Transformers. They may even be better than your Transformers because they're full of things like die-cast metal and super articulation and crazy levels of detail. And Hasbro almost never goes after these people. And there's this thought that these companies that are doing this, as long as they aren't infringing on something that maybe the company is wanting to flex their own thing on, and I'll use the HasLab Unicron is a big one, because there was a third-party Unicron that was supposed to get done, and Hasbro weirdly nope, shut them down because they were doing the HasLab Unicron. But outside of that, there's a synergy that exists, that if there's excitement for these third-party offerings, that will have a reciprocal effect on the actual brand, and people will go, oh, that Transformer thing. Oh, I saw that.
Yeah.
Right.
You might not be buying the thing you think you're buying, but
you're getting something.
you're getting something. Yeah. So there's this reciprocal, and every third party company that puts out an action figure that is a blatant pass off of another intellectual property is basically rolling the dice every time they do.
Yeah.
I mean, you can buy Chinese knockoffs
Absolutely
on Amazon, and
of course you can
army build with your weirdly printed stormtroopers.
Alibaba or AliExpress for the win for what those $25 clone troopers.
Yep.
Right. I mean, on a shelf, if that's just for you, what's wrong with that? Grab 10 and paint them up, man.
This is the thing. I have no issue like with the consumer at home who's got the 3D printer, who's making, makes a figure for himself, maybe makes a couple for his buddies or something. But when you start selling them to the public, you are taking your chances. And when you get shut down or you get caught or you get criticized, you have no recourse. What are you doing? Well,
no, there is none.
They shut me down. Yeah, because you stole their property. Like, what did you think was going to happen?
Well, have they shut those guys who are making the New Age Centurions down yet?
No, they haven't. So, but again,
that's what's going to happen.
Again, though, that comes down to who are they infringing on, and is the rights holder, the actual rights holder, are they doing anything with that property?
No.
But if it keeps it in the public eye,
then they don't mind it.
And there's another thing, right?
It must drive the secondary market up.
If you're talking about Ramen Toy,
yes,
Ramen Toy, who just did they called them 80s Commanders, which is a modern take on Centurions.
Yep.
Yeah.
They have legitimately a license to do their Quicksilver from Silverhawks. They just revealed a digital rendering for Brave Star that they are calling the Marshal. They're also doing. Remember Mask?
Yes.
So they're doing a couple of Mask toys as well in scale with the vintage line.
Are all these properties in limbo?
They've been out of circulation for a while.
Well, yeah. Mask
that,
came back in comic book form recently.
Yeah.
Silverhawks hasn't had a resurgence until Super 7 kind of got a license for it.
Yeah.
My point is that these third-party companies do keep the brands in the public eye, and I think from a corporate perspective,
if it costs them nothing to do it, why not?
The folks at Mattel and Hasbro can watch very carefully to see what the response to that is, and if the public is like, "Oh, we're really into this," then they can exercise their rights and start producing something official, and it may work for them.
Yeah,
it may not do.
But also, as he said in that video, we've got to go at the angle that the toy aisle is not aimed at.
It's not aimed at the collector. Yeah. But what did he say? It was the kids, the parents, and the buying gifts for the birthday parties and stuff, Christmas gifts.
I'm going to disagree with that because yes, technically it is aimed at us. We were the kids that went to that toy aisle and got the birthday presents for your friends and everything. You go there now, you're not buying a $50 toy for some kid's birthday.
You know what? Again, this is a perspective I have from being a retailer. I've had people come in our age and say, I'm looking for a toy for my kid's birthday. He's going to be 8. And I've said to the guy, I probably don't have a whole lot that is suitable for an 8-year-old. And he's like, I don't care.
I have this Hellspawn.
Has bought the $55 NECA figure with the 32 points of articulation and the 3 heads and the 6, interchangeable hands and all the other accessories. And I'm like, wow, you are buying a collector figure for a child to play with. Good for you.
Yeah, but that's for his own kid or for his kid to take to some other kid.
Does it really matter? I mean, you're likely to spend, you are likely to spend more money on your own kid than you would on somebody else.
Yes.
For sure.
And that guy is probably a collector himself, but maybe he might have just been passing through town if you didn't know him as that, right?
That's possible as well. Now, I'm in between too. I don't know if I believe, that the collector product, is not necessarily where it should be in the store. I mean, I noticed we have 2 Walmarts local to us in the same city. Yes. One of them, I don't know if you've been to the North End Walmart.
Yes.
They just had an entire redo. They just redid the entire store. And, interestingly enough, it looks an awful lot like the big American stores now, where the collector product is now firmly seated in the electronics department.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is here.
But there's still collector stuff that shouldn't be there.
No, that's true.
But here's the thing, though.
It's odd stuff. It's weird stuff.
This is not, corporately speaking, is not a collector figure. This is a mass market toy.
Yeah.
So then I got to ask this question. My Toys R Us, I don't know how your Toys R Us operates. Well, and I know that they've been they're very disconnected from one another now. I know that the corporate entity is a little sketched out. So they're operating like single proprietorships, I think.
Okay.
But they have a huge section off to one side, which is all collectibles, and it's got like
they used to call it the collector corner,
right?
So is that still called that?
No, the Marvel Legends are there. All the Black Series are there. All the vintage collection are there.
Not the ones that we go to.
No.
They're still in the aisles. Collector corner is like
NECA
Funko Pops.
Yeah, Funko Pops, NECA.
Funko Pops are in there.
The wall of Funko Pops.
Yeah, all that stuff, and then all the the Black Series sabers and helmets, and then all the weapons from the Marvel lines.
Yeah.
That's all there. But all the Black Series are there. All the Marvel Legends. All the high-end He-Man figures.
I find that bizarre.
And in the aisle, all it is like there's like obviously there's a Lego section, but it's the like the new size, like the 5-inch weird sort of animated style looking stuff that Star Wars is doing. Probably if you wouldn't go into those aisles, but there's like another wave of stuff that's aimed at like preschool kids that Star Wars is doing.
Okay.
And the aisles are full of that stuff at Toys R Us, but so Toys R Us is aware that these are collector's items, that they've been set aside where kids don't necessarily go past the barrier, without their parents.
Right.
So and they're
I
not.
Will say this. I will say this about Toys R Us is that they have recently with the price bump, they are now firmly the most expensive place to buy your 6-inch action figures.
Yeah, that's crazy. I took that picture and posted it on social media of the Darksaber for $499.99.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Sorry.
Is that what it came out at, or is that a new price point?
That's what it came out at.
That's what it came out as.
Oh,
I mean, I bought it on
Prime Day.
Cyber Monday or something like that.
Sure.
I think so, and it was like 20% off, and it was still $329 or something like that. Like, wow, and that again, I'm doing okay, so I'll pay a little more than the average collector, I guess. But
so I think from the gist of the conversation we've had so far is that the three of us still, by and large, enjoy the retail experience in a brick and mortar.
Yeah,
I really do.
The thrill of the hunt, if you will.
I guess, and I mean, who can afford it? But I look at the pictures of the towers and the Kmarts from the 70s and the 80s, where there's literally 1,000 figures on the wall, and you have to sort through them because you could just buy the entire set right there.
I just want the first 18 right now.
Yep.
Like, and
And the best thing about back then, you
and knowing that you can go back
grandma.
next week and the week after that and the week after that and keep going. You can mow a few lawns and go get a few more after school.
Well, that's true. Yeah. There is that.
And while
I
am going to complain that they just released 2 waves at once. One of the waves is not supposed to be hitting retail till March of next year. And I definitely can't afford $50 a pop or $40 a pop.
So
wait.
Now is this
at once?
Now is this a wide release, or are you just saying you've seen it in your local market?
Isn't the Q9 not supposed to be?
Q9 has been out. No, he's been out for a long time.
Sorry, the Jack one is one Jack, isn't that?
Well, here
like a March
I'll
release.
be honest with you. 2023. I've sort of dropped. As I said before, I don't like disappointment, so I have really worked towards not paying attention to upcoming release dates because they're never fixed. And again, as a collector, I hate disappointment. As a retailer, I hate disappointing customers.
Well, that's
a whole other thing.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure where One Jack fits in the official release schedule. I just assumed because I saw 5 of them yesterday that he's ready for release. So if you're saying that you saw him in Halifax and I saw him in Peterborough on the same day,
out there.
He's out there. So
and that stormtrooper was listed above him, although that peg was empty. So it's not for collectors, but those are the people that I know that there weren't kids there at 6:30 in the morning getting those figures off the rack.
Yeah, it's middle-aged dudes before they go to work.
Yep.
Or wait, maybe that is their work. I don't know. I don't know.
That
there is that. Yeah. People who want to. Man, if you want to be a toy dealer, be a toy dealer. That's a whole other thing. I won't get into that.
I mean, I've definitely walked into, and I can't say guilty, but I've definitely walked into an EB Games and saw 4 Grievuses and went, I'm buying all of them, and then gone, hey, does anybody need a Grievous at retail?
Right, because you want to make sure that it's getting into the hands of a collector.
Because I'd seen them going for $100, like days after, and I was like, that's crazy.
Some people think they're doing somebody a favor, like they're the whole like I'm the savior of this, like I'm providing a service, and so then that begs the question: you're not the only one to do that, Hank. I mean, lots of people have done that, and now I've not done that specifically to a wider audience, but I know that I have a very small selection of friends, i.e., yourself, Andy, and there's a couple of other people that if I'm in the store and I see the thing and I know it's on your list, I will take the picture and I will send it to you. Do you need this right now?
Definitely.
And if you say yes, I'm buying it for you.
Yeah.
I'll do that. But I will not blindly buy 5 things knowing that the collector community, because let's face it, the community, as much as people say it's a community, it's still kind of a free-for-all.
Because you're liable to sell it. You think you're doing a cool thing, you sell it to a guy at retail, and then it shows up because that guy's flipping it for $100.
That's right. Yeah. or the I saw the 5 of them, so I bought 1 for me and 4 to resell, and my gas and my time. Man, you were already in the store. You knew what you were doing. You were going there shopping for yourself. Your gas and your time means squat to me.
I'd be interested to know, and I know that I don't know. I haven't really dug too deep, but I'd be interested to know if there's like when Hasbro puts out a Spider-Man figure, Spider-Man X, which is it's not a figure, it's just whatever.
Sure. Yep.
And they know how many they put out, and they know where they there's this many go to Thailand and this many go. So I'm interested to know like what that number is, and is it public disclosure?
What is the production run?
And are these scalpers, for lack of a better term, privy to this information? And is that what's driving the secondary market?
I'm sure that there's a little bit of corporate like shenanigans.
Right? Is there some level
at every level
of
because there would have to be, right?
I would think so.
That's what does the corporation or the toy company, I guess, profit off of the secondary market? Because I see things on pre-order on Amazon that are supposedly being sold by the dealer, the originator, way double, sometimes triple market.
I think there's an argument to be made for all of the retro packaging. Is that sort of these are the companies that are capitalizing on the nostalgia. I think that companies like Hasbro and Mattel have seen what the secondary market is doing with their vintage toys, and they're like, wow, we want to get a slice of that. So they start packaging or making completely new figure lines, the retro line, which is on the retro cards. And they just want to get on the business too. But again, they are publicly traded companies, and it is a business.
True.
Yeah,
they're not your friends.
No.
They don't
care if your collection.
Can't just call up Chuck and say, Chuck, send me one of everything, and don't.
I watched the video. I don't know which. Did you send that video over the other day, Hank? The guy. It was a retailer. He was talking about the cancellation.
A small retailer, but yeah.
I listened to him, and he said, Hasbro's fans. I'm like, Hasbro doesn't have fans. Star Wars has fans. Marvel has fans. It's the licensing that has the fan base, not the companies. I mean,
as a lifetime toy collector, though, and I was talking about this with Lauren, Hasbro does have a little brand loyalty from me. It's good, like that. Those GI Joes, man. Like,
okay, I'll give you that. Sure,
a tiny bit. It's not like. Ketchup, like we're or McDonald's versus Burger King or what have you, Coke and Pepsi. But there's a little bit of nostalgia there because like that's
think so.
The parent company,
I can
right?
Agree with that, sure.
But if somebody was producing the exact same thing for half the price and I could obtain it morally and
jump ship,
probably in a second, Hasbro. So
I look at those. those reaction figures, since that licensing has exploded, and there's like literally a wall of what 20 or 30 different licenses,
At least.
and they're $22.
Yeah,
Is that
$22 for a 3 3/4 reaction figure. No,
with 5 points of articulation.
no, thank
No,
you.
I wait
my
till I see
nostalgia
them in
doesn't
weird
go that
places.
far.
Like there's a candy store here that
Yeah.
I got a
Yeah.
Karate Kid Daniel LaRusso for $4.
Sure.
Things that those things will be showing up
Yeah.
at Walmart
Yeah,
one
yeah.
day. I
bought the I don't, you probably can't see them. This shelf right here. These are my Robotech reaction figures, and I
Nice.
think I got three Valkyries in Battleoid mode plus a
Nice.
battle pod, and I think I paid $20 for all of them.
Total. I see
at
them. They're $19.99 at the comic store.
Yeah.
A pop. They still have a few, but they're $20 a piece now.
Is there anybody out there that is still doing good stuff at an affordable price point?
Well,
I have blinders on to a lot of the industry. I'm sort of
Sure.
I jumped feet in with the I went crazy in 2015. It's just like I'm going to have a midlife crisis. I don't know if that's what it was, but I was just like, I'm going to start collecting Star Wars figures. I jumped on the Force Awakens train hardcore.
Right.
And I started collecting the 3.75 stuff. And, collected, like I literally had, and I don't anymore, because that's when you talk about a purge, again, if Dougie's listening, his kid is the, I say he's the victim of my purge, because I unloaded over 100 figures on him.
Oh, wow.
Because like, I was never going to, I didn't have the time to get what I put into them out. And you look, you're like, yeah, at that time they were $10.99 a pop, and they went up to $12.99 by the time I stopped collecting the Last Jedi ones or whatever it was.
I recently, I made a recent purchase that I actually thought was really, really cool. I'm not a huge diecast collector. Like any of the diecast that I own, it has to be like a Hollywood car. So I have like a small assortment of like Hollywood cars in different scales. Yeah, but cool. I saw these. These are from Jada. These are their Hollywood rides, the Nano series. So they're about the size of a micro machine.
Oh, cool.
And I mean, this 3-pack cost before tax $8.97.
Huh.
$8.97 for 3 essentially micro machines. To me,
right. That's not a bad deal.
There's some serious value in that.
That's
really like that.
Yeah, that's not a bad deal at all.
So then the other day we're out again, and I was surprised to see that not only was there a refresh on that wave, but there was also this Jurassic Park set and this G.I. Joe set also for $8.97. I'm going to stick with Jada for a minute because they do a lot of
Hollywood stuff.
Yeah, Hollywood stuff. Some of my my Hollywood cars are Jada. And if you can get them at regular retail, this kind of touches on that whole
aftermarket.
Middle-aged guy is sitting in the aisle when the store opens. A lot of the Jada stuff, it's really well priced. Like it's super reasonably priced.
Nice. And what retailers are carrying that?
Walmart.
Oh, wow. Crazy.
Yeah. Some of my Batmobiles I got at Walmart for like, I paid $12 for one. The most money I spent on one was I bought it at a convention. I think I paid $60 for it. But like I said, I don't own a lot of diecast. But honestly, like Jada as a company, I think are doing some pretty cool things at a price point that people can actually afford. That a kid with a couple of lawns mowed could go and get this.
Well, now that because now that a lawn mowing is probably going to cost somebody $20 or $30.
That's right. Yeah. I'll mow your front lawn for $20.
And that's just it. I don't think the price climbing is going up. We see it everywhere in every walk of life. So I don't, I don't know.
What's the brand, Andy, that got some excitement there? The Dollar Tree brand.
Oh, Final Faction.
Final Faction. Yeah. They're 3 3/4 inch kind of 5
3/4
POA.
Yep. And they've got accessory packs, villain packs. You can definitely army build with them. Nice. And they're like $1.50 a piece.
Sure, and they've got their own lore. They have their own media.
They've got an animated series to go with it
on their own website.
Very cool.
Yeah,
but it's $1. This is a dollar store brand that is built at a price point and quality
is not bad.
That's durable enough for the average kid to play with, like fairly heavily.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I won't be doing that with my Black Series figures.
No, I mean, I've been getting a few of them dirty with my photography, but I certainly I treat them weird. Like when they come out of the box, it's like, did you wash your hands?
Kid gloves.
I think it's a difficult situation to be in all around with this. And I've said this before, going back to my love of Transformers, this is something that I've watched well over the past decade and a half, is that the Transformers come out and it basically boils down to two things: less plastic or more money. And I've seen the size of a Voyager or a deluxe class figure. They've gotten shorter over the years. Transformers now are built with way more hollow spaces, in the back of their legs, the backs of their arms, because they know that most collectors are not going to pose their figures standing backwards.
Right.
So as long as the front still looks good, all is well. But
we're going to have cardboard cutouts soon.
Yeah, paper
on recycled paper that melts in the sunlight.
With a Transformer, you can kind of get away with that, because if you transform it into a car or whatever its alt mode is, it's generally kind of covered and it looks like what it's supposed to look like.
Right.
With a Marvel Legend or a Star Wars figure,
you need that.
You can't cut those corners. It's really hard to cut them. Like, what do you do? Like, start making the figures hollow? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So the price creep really is the major thing that's on my brain that
is going to eventually kill it.
Has been for the last couple of years. It's been a thorn in my side as a collector. It's been the same thing as a retailer. It super stressful for the retailers and for the small retailers out there that are listening or watching this on the replay. I sincerely feel for you. Like, man, we called this episode the pre-order menace. In the years of retail that I did, I did not do pre-orders. I wanted to do pre-orders. I tried to do pre-orders, and I realized that I, as a small business owner in a rural area, do not have the capital to front everything.
Right.
I just don't. And then you have these horror stories, and I've seen it. We've seen it in the toy groups, other small retailers who have taken the pre-order, they've made the customer pay up front. And then for some reason that money has been spent somewhere else, and then the people don't get their product, and it just becomes this downward spiral of like real like,
no, that's nasty.
Fast.
People say like, I had this in the last couple of weeks. I had a guy who's like, well, I normally only buy from people who have like a loot system. Like, well, dude, I can't afford it. I can't afford to front you everything until it comes in. Maybe. And as we saw with this Hasbro cancellation, maybe may never come.
Yeah.
So
I just, it's still, that drives me crazy, considering they have an entire line that's dedicated to putting figures out that were hard to get in the first place. Putting a big fat stamp on the fact that they realize that that's the problem in the industry. They wouldn't know to put a Dengar out if they didn't know that a Dengar was $100.
I've said this before. I want to know who's the guy or the girl or whoever the employee is at whatever company who decides what the case breakdown is.
Yeah,
who's that person?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what do you mean you're putting, 6 Lobots in a case and one Han Solo? What?
Right.
What are you doing?
Computer algorithm.
You know what? Computer. I heard that computer algorithm. If that's the case,
then it is definitely driving the second market.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, okay, this is the one they're going to want, so don't give it to them.
This is where I think, again, these people
they did it in sports cards for sure.
Oh, really?
Like, I mean, when they started running things like, I remember. Do you remember when I had my store on Main and Danforth? My comic sort of.
I do not.
Okay, so anyways, one of the things was that they were selling packs of cards, and inside these packs of baseball cards, say you get the pitcher Olin Nolan.
Yeah.
He would autograph this thing on a titanium green emerald card. It'd be in a pack, $300 out the pack.
Yep.
And you could literally, have a kid sit there and buy a $5 pack of cards, give them $150 for this card out the pack, and double your money. And the sickness of that is that turned into all the foil covers in the comic industry in the late 90s.
That has just kept that train has kept rolling. I mean, and now Hasbro owns Wizards of the Coast, right? So Magic the Gathering, same thing. Pokemon,
and I can't help but thinking that mentality is at the forefront of these shareholder meetings, at the forefront of these board meetings, at the forefront of the design meetings, and it's unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it, but it is what drives it.
Well, there's that that brings up that question again. Is there like manufactured scarcity?
Corporate level exclusivity.
Yeah, like are they driving this?
I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I believe there is. When I go into a and it's when I see things that are like fan driven, like when there's like 10 Admiral Holdos.
Oh yeah.
I know that somebody in the industry is out of touch with how many am I going to put in a box versus how many of this character am I going to put in a box.
Right.
But I also see that when I wasn't collecting back series in 2015, when I was still collecting everything but I had one Chewbacca, they were everywhere. When it first started, they were everywhere.
Right.
Plenty of them. And I just kind of walked by them all the time going, oh, that's real cool. Like I remember seeing Jango Fett so often that I thought, I need a Boba Fett. I want to just look at a Boba Fett. And now he's $100. Where'd they all go?
I'll be the first to admit that I bought Jango twice. I bought the original retail, and then I bought the gaming greats because I thought, man, it's a better looking head, and it gets the other backpack.
And I mean, and then there's that we're willing to do that. We're such fans of these things that we're willing to go, this is identical with a better face paint job.
I'll tell you,
so it was an easy one archive wave.
This was an easy one to justify. This is just specifically where Jango is concerned, because that Jango body is the basis for the Mandalorian Super Commando, the Maul DeLorean. It's that Jango body. So it was an easy one to justify.
Yeah.
I'll get the new one. I'll have a great looking Jango, and I can repaint the old one into generic Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's another way that these companies are saving it. Oodles of money. This like with repaints, they're actually I literally bought a thing for $40 that was repaint of another figure. They just put a belt on it, repainted it.
But that's a hallmark of the toy industry and has been since forever.
And then the reuse of assets that we talk about.
I'm looking at that gaming grate. There's a gaming grates
Night Brother.
The Night Brother behind you. They just reissued that exact figure in red with a bow.
Right, yeah. I saw there was 4 of those. I didn't get one today.
Yeah.
Exact same figure, red with a bow.
No difference. Yeah. No difference.
No difference at all.
And those are the Darth Maul legs back from Wave 1. That's a Wave 1 asset.
Well, I might paint one of those as a Maul because I can't get a Maul to save my life. And I mean, so if they don't know that, like there's a great example of a highly popular character that they must have their thumb on the pulse of, knowing the popularity of, and then going, well, let's make this impossible or next to impossible to get.
It's a tough nut. I don't know what the answer is. I just know that as a collector in the space right now, I'm not as happy as I was. I'm not as carefree as I was. Well, my wife might argue with that one, but I don't think I'm as carefree as I once was. Certainly my wallet kind of corresponds.
It's a bit of a restrictive.
It does.
Yeah. I've certainly learned to pay my bills first.
Amen, brother. Wow, guys, have we got it all out of us now? Are we? I
think so. I didn't even yell once.
Enough?
I didn't even yell once. That's it. Like, look, like this is it's a.
I like that hat, by the way.
Thank you. But I'll buy rocks if they stamp Star Wars on them, and they know it. And there's so many people
that line from me.
And that's the problem. I need to get better at that. I need to be more discerning. And I know that I've actively gone. I'm not going to start like. I'm no longer pursuing the Rise of Skywalker figures that I missed.
No, I actually, in my purge, every sequel trilogy figure I owned, I got rid of.
Yeah, I'm about to lube up my shelves a little like that too with that stuff. There's a few. I like the old Han Solo and Leia. I like them posed together a lot.
Yeah, man. I feel like if I had to like purge my Black Series collection down, and I've been thinking about ways to do that, how would I do it? What is the quintessential, you know, and I think I would probably keep, you know, I would really love it if somebody out there, and I don't know if this probably exists already, a 1/12 scale or 6-inch scale Millennium Falcon cockpit that I can put Han, Chewie, Luke, Leia, and the droids in the cockpit. That's it, and that'd be my thing. And Ben, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, there are certain characters from each film that I would go, this is the quintessential version of that character.
The moment you want to collect.
I don't need 5. I mean, the first generation Stormtrooper, I don't need 5 of those.
No.
I narrowed it down to 1. I kept every Sand Trooper because they had a different pauldron, but.
And that's another thing that's kind of gone to the wayside is army building.
I have 7 Luke Skywalkers, but no clone troopers.
I'm looking at that Mandalorian Luke Skywalker that they just showed off, and I'm like, is that going to be the definitive Luke? It's the Jedi Luke all over again, but this time he comes with a black cloak instead of a brown one.
Yeah. It's really nice, but I mean, I guess they don't know. Let's just pretend they don't know.
I don't know. Anything else for anybody?
If I see another 7 in the wild, I'll snap it up for you, though.
Perfect. Anything you want to close out on before we get going, guys?
Well, the Marvel Legends, I like what they're doing.
Sure.
As far as the Build-A-Figure stuff goes.
Oh, my God.
That gives you more value.
We are not signing off.
But the catch to that is you got to buy the whole wave.
You do have to buy the whole wave
to get the figure.
Do you find, so this is something I see quite a bit online. It's you know, that one person who's like, I only want this figure. Is anybody else getting this wave? Because I'll go in on it with you if I can just have this figure or this Build-A-Figure part. You know me, right? You're like 99%. Hey, do you need this figure? Yes, I do. Are you doing anything with the bath? No, I'm not. Okay, you can have it.
Nice.
Why didn't Hasbro learn from the Marvel Group and apply the Build-A-Figure concept to other properties, to Star Wars?
Yeah,
Brancors.
There are we could have had much larger characters that they wouldn't do even as a deluxe. You know, you think Wrecker is a big figure. What about some of those guys in the cantina?
I mean, actually, you know, when you look at Wrecker scaled to the animated version, when I was doing this the other day actually because I have Wrecker open there. I don't know. And I was looking at him beside Hunter, and then scaling them in the animated series. He's crazy bigger than Hunter.
Oh, he is. For sure he is.
Zeb, the Rebels line, that's a really big figure, but he's
especially if you stretch his legs
bigger. Yeah,
stretch out his legs. He actually is fairly imposing over the rest of them.
And I mean, Grievous is another very tall figure when he's completely all stretched out too. So, but there are again, we're talking value. So even if we didn't go, there's a limited amount of sort of potential for Build-A-Figures because Marvel has that infinite breadth of large, Titan tier figures.
So it's not a Hasbro thing exclusively. Mattel did it when they had DC. They did their Collect and Connect, which
and McFarlane's doing it now again.
But I'm going to touch on Collect and Connect for a minute here because Collect and Connect was not exclusively other action figures. You remember they did Batman's grapple gun?
Yeah.
So I mean, here's a fan like myself who's clamoring for give me some set pieces. Like remember that
Ghostbusters.
Remember Ray's junk speeder?
Yes.
Her bike. There's no reason why that couldn't have been broken up over 3 or 4 figures, and then by the time you bought the wave, you get a speeder bike.
Yeah.
Like, why aren't they doing this?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
Because it does offer a secondary opportunity like Marvel does, right? Like you build the figure first and then repaint it and just sell it as a deluxe.
Oh, 6-inch scale vehicles won't sell, or 6-inch scale vehicles is too expensive in tooling costs. Just do some of the small ones.
Yeah.
And see how it them out as like Build-A-Figure pieces.
It's like what we talked about. Set pieces is a perfect example of that. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's the one thing that the 3.75 stuff has going for it because it's more.
Well, being smaller, just less real estate. It lends itself better to world building.
Yeah.
Well, guys, this has been we've been at it for just a little over about an hour and 15 minutes now. I mean, I feel better, nicely quenched. How about you?
Yeah,
Mike?
I do. I do. I mean, I'm still in love with the game. I guess you will. Yeah. I just had to get some things off my chest. There's not a heck of a lot we can do about it unless we take the discernment of our collections into our own hands, and then maybe and like I said, I'm really interested in this 3D printing sort of thing and looking at artists that are producing something that's more precious, that might mean more something,
Well, so wait, let me ask one question though. If I own a 3D printer and I just go online and find the file and print it off, am I an artist?
Depends how you paint it.
No, I mean, there's a point there.
Do you know what I mean?
No,
You know where
you're
I'm
a
getting at.
manufacturer, definitely a manufacturer.
Yep.
But I, as a because like we were saying before, I probably wouldn't flip that. I might flip it to somebody who wants it, and then just get my money out of it for what I put into it. If Jay wanted a figure and I could make him one, and then because it cost me $10 to make, throw me $10. That's something I'd be making for myself. I don't think I'd be making,
If you're writing your own files and you're doing all of your own design work, absolutely.
Yeah.
But just going out there and, that's why I think people who are like, oh, this is my file. And people who are getting upset because they think that their work has been stolen. It's like, what? Whoa, pot, kettle over.
Right.
Oh, well, 3D printing, that's a whole other thing.
It is. That's another show.
All right, guys. Well, this has been our episode, the pre-order Menace. By the way, anybody got anything on pre-order right now?
Yes.
GameStop.
I have nothing.
Yeah, that's
GameStop has one of my testicles.
With Amazon, like you were saying, Hank, pre-order dates, like waves that are hitting now, and it still says on Amazon due to hit in like January.
Oh my God, yeah.
So that's
okay.
Yeah. That's hella hard on the pocketbook, because if that's the only thing we have to budget with as like sort of like multiple collectors, they got to give us a break somewhere. I mean, if the problem isn't that we can only get 2 figures every 3 months, or suddenly there's 15 to choose from, and either way we're kind of getting screwed. So somebody's got to figure something out in terms of that distribution.
There, having a little bit of an internet issue. You're back, man.
Oh,
we missed the last 30 seconds. What was it?
I'm just ranting about if they got to get it together. They got to either figure out 3 figures every 6 months or 15 figures a day. Is not going to cut it. They need to find a happy medium.
What I love is
where the layman can afford it.
Here's your pre-order, and by the way, we don't charge you until it shows up, and then suddenly, oops, you do get that 15 figures drop in a day, and suddenly you're like, oh crap! I can't live with that level of stress of having to juggle that level of like, oh my God, it's feast or famine, right? I can't do that, so I am content to just kind of pick and choose what I can get when I can get it. And if I really, really, really want something, I know I can get it online.
True.
It's true. Yeah.
Well, I think that's it for me, guys. Anything else for you?
Not as of now.
All right. Well, listen, guys, this has been our pre-order Menace episode. A nice casual chit chat to sit down and talk about some toys. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode as much as we did. Whether you're listening to this later on or catching us on the replay on YouTube, don't forget we've got Andor coming up here very shortly. There is a bunch of entertainment that's dropping in the near future.
Have you guys checked out the first episode of She-Hulk yet?
I did. I finally got to see it.
So good.
Excellent.
They're calling it the best Marvel series yet.
It could well be.
I do like how it was presented. I do.
Yeah.
The twist on our origin was just perfect.
Works for me. It didn't have to be. No. It didn't have to be any more than what it was.
No. The first 20 minutes, I was thinking, before they sort of explained it away by their genetics, I was like, "Ooh, you could catch Hulk like AIDS."
But that also opens the door for a villain to come back from the Incredible Hulk.
Well, I mean, I think we've all been sort of like, that was a missed opportunity.
Yeah, he's still going to come back.
We're talking about the leader, right?
The leader.
Yeah, okay.
The leader.
I agree. I think that was a missed opportunity with him. I'm more interested to see this relationship between Wong and Abomination.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on there?
Wicked.
Interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And we'll be back again here next week, same time, same channel. I don't know what we'll be talking about, but we've only got just a couple more weeks, and we're back into our regular review series with Andor. Again, first 3 episodes are dropping in that opening day. It's going to be a crazy week for us here behind the scenes, but we'll be back with our deep dive review series, the way that you have come to expect from us here at Fandom Power.
Okay.
And until next week, guys, that's it for me. So until next time, my name is Wes.
I'm Andy.
I'm Hank.
And we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now, guys.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to Fandom Power. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Stay tuned for our next episode where we'll be talking about another one of your favorite fandoms. Fandom Power is a Sawcast production.